Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I've got this beautiful brisket in front of me, but before you cook it, you've got to trim it. So today, that's what the video is about, how to trim your brisket. Here we go. This is a big one. It's 9.3 kilos, which is like 20 pounds. It's a nice big brisket. I don't have any hard and fast rules. I kind of let the brisket show me what needs to be done, and then I will use my judgment on how much to take off and what to take off and how to make it look. What I want to do is get the maximum amount of meat out of the brisket as I can. I don't need to have it looking any fancy way. For me, there's really no need to do that. I think a lot of that is more just show. Anyways, let's just get into it. I'm going to be using that's about a 6-inch boning knife. A shorter blade, you have more control. I know you've seen guys using bigger chef's knives. I wouldn't recommend using that. You don't have as much control. Just my opinion. Anyways, we're going to just take off loose stuff. There's a lot of fat here. This is where you've got the flat end, you've got the point end, which is where the two muscles are, and there's usually a lot of fat here. And you kind of let the knife tell you too, because you can feel when you're in fat versus muscle, because the fat is much harder to cut through. Take all the fat off this end. And if you see there's a little bit of discoloration here in the meat, that's when it's at the slaughterhouse. When they vacuum pack it, they usually run the meat through a heat chamber, which actually shrinks the bag. So it will discolor the meat. Nothing's wrong with it, but I don't like the color of it. And we're going to take it off. I'm going to take all this fat off. There's not much here anyways. We want to expose that meat. The exposed meat will take the smoke much better than the fat will. So we're going to take the sinew off as well on this side. Just get the knife under there. There is quite a bit of fat here, so I want to get a lot of this out. As you can see, that's a big chunk. You're going to lose that anyways through the cook. Straighten that out a bit. And then on this side, I'm just going to straighten it out. There's a whole big chunk of fat on here as well, which I'll show you. There's a lot of fat there, which we're gonna take down as well. I never like this piece because it's kind of just flopping around, so I trim that off as well. There is a lot of fat here that we're going to take off. And I keep all this fat because this is great for making tallow. Generally, if you leave the fat about 1/4 of an inch, that's plenty. You don't need it any thicker than that. That's good. It's not bad. And I'm going to turn this around just so you can see. But on this side too, there's a lot of fat here, which we're going to dig out as a bunch of it. And I'm going to just straighten this off a bit. If you see here, that fat goes in quite a ways too. This is the part of cooking a brisket that nobody really talks about, is how much waste you actually get, and I actually did a video on that. This stuff is just not nice looking fat, so I'm taking that off as well. There's a little bit of blood from a vein. I'm gonna cut that out as well. It's not pretty. There's quite a bit of fat here. Pretty good on that side. Now, the flat end, this always depends on actually how thick the piece is, which it goes pretty. So I'm actually gonna cut it. There we go, some of the more of that discoloration in the meat there. Don't like that. Which doesn't affect the cook at all, it just doesn't look good at this point. I know there's guys which really round it off. I don't normally do that. I go, like I said, I go by the shape and how the piece of meat is presented to me, and I kind of just go with the flow in that regard, and just try and get as much usable meat out of it as I can. That's good. I'm going to leave the fat on that side. So now we've got this end. I'm gonna all the way to this end. This end is more, I'm gonna say, ugly because it has the two pieces together, which I'm just going to, that's a little sloppy. There you go. That's basically all I do on this side. Basically taking off all the silver skin and fat because you want that smoke to penetrate that meat, and that's why you're doing this, to get all that flavor in there. And for me, this is ready to go. Got this all trimmed up. So now we have beef trim, we've got beef fat here, and the brisket. So we've got all that from this. Typically what I use the beef for is either sausages or I'll make hamburgers. I'll grind it myself. Makes beautiful hamburgers. And like I said, the fat here, I'm just going to freeze it, vacuum pack it, freeze it, and when I get enough, I will make more tallow. There you go. That's the way I use a whole brisket and everything off of it. I don't let anything go to waste. There you go. Hope you learned something. If you have any questions, leave them below. I'd be happy to answer them. And like always, happy eating.